Zara Wright wiped the grease from her hands and squinted at the quantum engine's crystalline core. Another late night at the orbital repair station Helios, but she wouldn't have it any other way. The familiar hum of machinery and the subtle vibration of the station's artificial gravity generators kept her company as she worked on the damaged freighter. "Right, you're still here." Station Chief Rivera's voice echoed through the cavernous maintenance bay. "The diagnostic protocols can handle the overnight checks." "With all due respect, Chief, the protocols missed the quantum fluctuation that nearly stranded the Stellar Dawn in deep space," Zara replied, not looking up from her work. Her fingers traced the intricate patterns of the engine's quantum matrix, feeling for irregularities that the station's automated systems consistently overlooked. Rivera sighed, his holographic projection flickering slightly. "You can't keep doing everything manually. Times are changing." "That's exactly why manual checks matter more than ever," Zara muttered, her dark eyes catching an unusual reflection in the engine's crystal matrix. Something wasn't right. The quantum patterns seemed to shift and flow in ways that defied the standard physics models. She reached deeper into the engine housing, her specialty tools extending into spaces too delicate for robotic maintenance units. The quantum core pulsed with an odd rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. As her instruments touched the crystalline surface, a surge of energy cascaded through the system. "Right." Rivera's voice turned sharp with alarm. "We're getting strange readings from your sector." But Zara barely heard him. Her attention was fixed on what her probing had revealed, a small, geometric object embedded within the quantum core. It was no larger than her palm, its surface covered in intricate patterns that seemed to respond to her presence. "Chief," she said slowly, "I don't think this is standard equipment." Her scanner struggled to analyze the object, producing readings that made no sense. The energy signatures didn't match any known technology. "Don't touch anything else," Rivera ordered. "I'm calling in the containment team." But it was too late. The moment Zara's instruments made contact with the mysterious artifact, it resonated with a frequency that made her teeth ache. The quantum core flared with impossible light, and for a brief moment, Zara felt as if she could see through the walls of reality itself. The artifact rose from its resting place, suspended in a field of pure energy. Symbols and equations that Zara had never seen before filled her vision, yet somehow, she understood them. They spoke of technologies beyond human comprehension, of civilizations that had mastered the fundamental forces of the universe. "Right, get out of there now." Rivera's voice seemed to come from very far away. The artifact pulsed once, twice, and then shot toward Zara with impossible speed. She tried to dodge, but instead of striking her, it seemed to phase through her chest, disappearing entirely. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the pain hit. It felt like every atom in her body was being rewritten, reconfigured according to some alien blueprint. Zara fell to her knees, gasping for air as her vision filled with quantum calculations and engineering schematics far beyond current human technology. When the agony finally subsided, Zara found herself still kneeling in the maintenance bay, surrounded by concerned security personnel and medical staff. But everything was different. She could see the quantum fields that permeated reality, understand the complex interactions of subatomic particles as easily as reading a manual. "I'm okay," she managed to say, though she wasn't sure if that was true. But something impossible just happened. As if in response to her words, holographic displays sprang to life around her, projected from thin air. They showed technical specifications for technologies that shouldn't exist, star charts of regions humanity had never explored, and warnings about threats lurking in the darkness between galaxies. Chief Rivera stared at the displays, his face pale. "Right, what did you do?" "I didn't do anything," Zara replied, watching as her hands seemed to glow with quantum energy. "But I think something chose me." The security alarms began to wail, and new holographic warnings appeared, showing multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel near the station. Their configurations were unlike anything in human databases. Zara stood, newfound knowledge flooding her consciousness. She knew what those ships were, what they wanted, and why the artifact had chosen her. The universe was about to become a much larger, much more dangerous place, and somehow, she had just become humanity's first line of defense. "Chief," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos erupting around them, "we're about to have company. And they're not here for routine maintenance." The emergency klaxons echoed through orbital station Helios as Zara Wright faced down a room full of increasingly agitated security personnel. Her body hummed with alien energy, quantum calculations streaming through her consciousness like a digital waterfall. "The artifact is called a Nexus Core," she explained, watching as Commander Yuki Tanaka paced the conference room. "It was created by a species called the Precursors to identify and elevate civilizations on the brink of quantum enlightenment. And it just happened to be hidden in a commercial freighter's engine." Tanaka's skepticism was clear in her voice. The commander's decorated military career had never prepared her for anything like this. Zara shook her head, holographic displays materializing around her with a mere thought. The Nexus Core was dormant, waiting for someone with the right quantum resonance. The freighter's damaged engine created the perfect conditions for it to activate. "That's fascinating," Chief Rivera interrupted, "but it doesn't explain the alien fleet about to knock on our door." The holographic displays shifted, showing detailed scans of the approaching vessels. "They're called the Vanguard," Zara said, the knowledge flowing from the Nexus Core's vast database. "Think of them as cosmic gatekeepers. They monitor developing civilizations, ensuring none acquire precursor technology before they're ready." "And we just broke their prime directive," Tanaka concluded grimly. Before anyone could respond, the station's AI chimed in. "Unknown vessels are establishing communication protocols. Their technology they're already through our firewalls." A new hologram materialized in the center of the conference room. The figure stood nearly 8 feet tall, its form wrapped in what appeared to be living metal armor. When it spoke, its voice resonated at frequencies that made the station's windows vibrate. "I am Sentinel Vex of the Vanguard Conclave. You have activated restricted precursor technology. Surrender the Nexus Core immediately, or we will be forced to take decisive action." Zara stepped forward, her newly enhanced senses detecting the quantum weapons charging aboard the Vanguard vessels. "I am Zara Wright. The core has already merged with my biological structure. Removal would be fatal." "An unfortunate necessity," Vex replied without emotion. "The alternative is allowing an immature species access to power they cannot comprehend. You have one planetary rotation to comply." The hologram vanished, leaving the room in tense silence. Commander Tanaka turned to Zara, her expression grave. "Options?" "The Nexus Core is showing me things," Zara said, her mind racing through quantum probabilities. "Defensive systems, advanced technologies, ways to protect the station. But using them would only prove their point about humanity not being ready." "Then what do you suggest?" Rivera asked. Zara's hands danced through the air, manipulating quantum fields that only she could see. "The precursors didn't just leave technology. They left messages, theories about consciousness and civilization. The Vanguard are so focused on preventing misuse of precursor technology, they've forgotten why it was created in the first place." She projected a new hologram, showing the complex quantum entanglement between herself and the Nexus Core. "The core didn't choose me by accident. It chose me because I understand something the Vanguard have forgotten: technology is just a tool. It's how we use it that matters." "That's very philosophical," Tanaka said, "but we have less than 24 hours before they attack. Then we need to show them something they've never seen before." Zara's eyes gleamed with determination. "Chief Rivera, I need access to the station's quantum engineering lab. Commander Tanaka, can you buy me some time?" "What are you planning?" Rivera asked. "The Vanguard expect us to either surrender or try to fight. They've seen it all before. But what if we could show them something new? Something that proves humanity's worth not through power, but through innovation. As if responding to her words, the Nexus core's energy surged through her body, creating complex geometric patterns in the air around her. In her mind, she could see the blueprint for something revolutionary, a fusion of human ingenuity and precursor technology that could change everything. "Commander," she said, her voice filled with newfound confidence, "when the Vanguard return, we're going to offer them a choice. They can either destroy us and prove they've become exactly what the precursors feared, or they can watch humanity do something impossible." The quantum displays around her shifted, showing a cascade of calculations and engineering schematics that made Rivera's eyes widen. "This is... I've never seen anything like this." "Neither have they," Zara smiled, feeling the Nexus core pulse in harmony with her own determination. The precursors believed that true advancement comes not from wielding power, but from understanding it. It's time to put that theory to the test. As the station's crew mobilized around her, Zara began to manipulate quantum fields with increasing confidence. The Vanguard thought they were protecting the galaxy from chaos, but they had forgotten the most important lesson the precursors had tried to teach: sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come not from following protocol, but from breaking it in just the right way. The quantum engineering lab of Station Helios had been transformed. What was once a sterile testing facility now pulsed with otherworldly energy as Zara Wright channeled power through systems that hadn't existed 6 hours ago. Sweat beaded on her forehead as she manipulated quantum fields with increasingly precise control. "Energy conversion at 80%, the station's AI announced. Warning, detecting unprecedented quantum field density." Chief Rivera monitored the readings from behind a reinforced barrier. "Right, these energy levels are off the charts. If your calculations are off by even a fraction." "They're not," Zara replied, her voice steady despite the strain. Through her connection to the Nexus core, she could see the quantum matrices aligning perfectly. The precursors understood something fundamental about reality that we've been missing. It's not about forcing energy to do what you want, it's about asking it nicely. As if to demonstrate her point, she gestured at a complex array of crystalline structures she'd assembled. They began to resonate in harmony, creating patterns of light that seemed to fold space itself. The air shimmered with possibilities as quantum probabilities collapsed and reformed. "Commander Tanaka to engineering," the intercom crackled. "The Vanguard fleet is moving. They're not waiting for their deadline." Zara's hands danced through holographic interfaces. "How long?" 10 minutes, maybe less. They've deployed some kind of quantum dampening field. Our conventional weapons are useless." "Good thing we're not using conventional weapons," Zara muttered. She turned to Rivera. "Chief, I need you to initiate emergency protocols. Get everyone to the quantum-shielded sections of the station." "What about you?" "I'll be fine." She managed a smile. "The Nexus core is showing me exactly what I need to do." As Rivera reluctantly withdrew, Zara expanded her consciousness through the station's systems. The Vanguard fleet approached in perfect formation, their ships radiating power that would have seemed godlike just days ago. Now, through her enhanced perception, she could see the flaws in their approach, the rigid adherence to protocols that had remained unchanged for millennia. "Sentinel Vex," she broadcast on all frequencies, "I request a final audience before you take action." The alien commander's hologram materialized, its living metal armor shifting with barely contained aggression. "Your time has expired, human. We detected your quantum experiments. You prove our point about your species' reckless nature." "You're right about one thing," Zara replied, continuing her delicate manipulations of the quantum field. "Humanity is reckless. We take risks. We break rules. But that's not our weakness, it's our strength." "Your species is young," Vex countered. "You cannot comprehend the dangers of precursor technology." "Maybe not. But we understand something you've forgotten." The crystalline array behind her began to pulse with increasing intensity. The precursors didn't create the Nexus core to prevent change. They created it to inspire it. Warning signals blared as the Vanguard ships charged their weapons. Zara felt a moment of doubt, but the Nexus core pulsed reassuringly within her. She wasn't just accessing its knowledge now, she was adding to it, combining human intuition with precursor wisdom to create something entirely new. Final warning, Vex announced. Surrender the core. Zara took a deep breath. Instead of destroying us, why don't you watch this? She activated the quantum array. The space around Station Helios erupted with energy, but not in the way the Vanguard expected. Instead of weapons fire, they witnessed the impossible, a controlled quantum cascade that rewrote local physics. The dampening field they deployed didn't just fail, it became part of Zara's experiment, its energy redirected and transformed. Impossible, Vex's hologram flickered. These patterns, this is not in any precursor database. Exactly, Zara said, her voice strained but triumphant. Because we just invented it. The precursors didn't want their technology protected, Sentinel. They wanted it improved upon. Evolution isn't about preserving the past, it's about building the future. The quantum cascade reached its peak, creating a phenomenon that caused every sensor in the system to overload. For a moment, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. When the energy dissipated, something had changed. The space around the station had been transformed, filled with crystalline structures that somehow existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. What have you done? Vex demanded. Created a quantum nursery, Zara explained, watching as the crystalline structures began to pulse with new forms of energy. A space where new quantum technologies can be safely developed and tested. Not just by humans, but by any species ready to take the next step. The precursors didn't want gatekeepers, Sentinel. They wanted teachers. The Vanguard ships remained motionless, their weapons still charged but not firing. Through her enhanced senses, Zara could feel their confusion, their rigid worldview cracking in the face of something truly new. She had gambled everything on a simple truth: true guardians should protect not just the past, but the possibility of a better future. In the tense silence following her demonstration, Zara stood amid the swirling quantum energies of the transformed engineering lab. The holographic form of Sentinel Vex flickered as the Vanguard ships maintained their position, weapons still primed but holding fire. Through her connection to the Nexus core, she could sense something she hadn't expected from these ancient guardians: uncertainty. The quantum nursery's readings are stabilizing, the station's AI reported. Energy patterns are evolving. Commander Tanaka's voice came through the comm system. Right, we're detecting new quantum signatures. Something's happening. The crystalline structures Zara had created began to pulse with an inner light, each resonating at a slightly different frequency. As she watched, the patterns they generated started to coalesce into something more, a message written in the language of quantum mechanics itself. Sentinel, she addressed Vex, are you seeing this? The alien commander's metallic form shifted, its living armor reflecting the dance of quantum energies. These patterns, they match quantum signatures in our most ancient records. Signatures we could never fully decode. Zara's enhanced consciousness reached out, interpreting the message as it formed. It's from them. The precursors. They knew this would happen, they planned for it. The quantum nursery's crystals projected a series of complex equations and diagrams into the space between the station and the Vanguard fleet. But these weren't just technical specifications, they were a story, told in the universal language of mathematics and energy. The Nexus core wasn't just a test, Zara said, understanding flooding her mind. It was one half of a key. The other half. She looked at the Vanguard ships, seeing them in a new light. It's in your living metal technology, isn't it? The precursors split their legacy, ensuring it could only be unlocked when preservation and innovation came together. Vex's hologram remained silent for a long moment. When the Sentinel spoke again, its voice carried a weight of millennia. For 50,000 years, we have guarded their works, believing we understood their purpose. But guardianship without growth becomes stagnation, Zara finished. She gestured at the quantum nursery. Look at what happens when we combine your knowledge with our willingness to explore new possibilities. The crystalline structures were now generating complex geometric forms that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Each form contained what appeared to be technological blueprints, but not just for weapons or defenses. These were plans for medical technologies that could cure any disease, energy systems that could power entire civilizations without harm, and transportation methods that could bridge the gaps between galaxies. They never wanted their technology locked away, Zara continued, watching as new patterns emerged. They wanted it to evolve, to grow with each new species that proved ready to contribute. Chief Rivera's voice came through the calm, filled with awe. The energy readings. They're unlike anything we've ever recorded. But they're stable. Controlled. Because it's not just human technology or precursor technology anymore, Zara explained. It's something new. Something better. The quantum nursery suddenly pulsed with increased intensity, and a new holographic figure appeared, not the metallic form of a vanguard, but something more ethereal. Its appearance shifted constantly, as if it existed in multiple states simultaneously. Protocol override accepted, it announced in a voice that seemed to echo through quantum space itself. Criterion met, successful fusion of preservation and innovation. Initiating final phase of project synthesis. Vex hologram showed the first signs of emotion Zara had seen. A precursor AI. Active after all this time. Not just active, Zara corrected, reading the quantum signatures. Waiting. Everything, the Nexus core, the Vanguard, even this station's location, it was all orchestrated to create this moment. The precursor AI's form stabilized slightly. The Great Barrier approaches, it announced. A challenge no single species can face alone. Our final gift is not our technology, but this truth. True advancement comes not from following a single path, but from the confluence of many. The quantum nursery's crystals began to reshape themselves, forming a structure that looked like a cross between a computer core and a living organism. Zara could feel it reaching out, trying to interface with both her Nexus core and the Vanguard's living metal technology. A choice must be made, the AI continued. The barriers between Guardian and Innovator must fall if there is hope of survival. Zara looked at Vex's hologram, understanding dawning in her quantum-enhanced mind. The precursors hadn't just left behind technology, they'd left behind a challenge. A test to see if different species, different philosophies, could come together in the face of something greater than themselves. And now, standing in the transformed engineering lab of a human space station, surrounded by the legacy of an ancient civilization facing the judgment of its self-appointed guardians, Zara Wright realized that her discovery of the Nexus core hadn't been an ending, it was just the beginning. The quantum nursery pulsed with newfound purpose as Zara faced the precursor AI's projection, its form shifting between states of matter like a living quantum equation. Behind her, the station's crew watched in stunned silence. Before her, the Vanguard fleet hung in space, their weapons powered down for the first time since their arrival. The Great Barrier, Zara said, her mind racing through the implications. You're talking about the quantum decay at the edge of known space. The phenomenon that's been consuming entire star systems. The AI's form flickered in confirmation. A wave of entropy that no single civilization has successfully confronted. Many have tried. All have failed. Because they faced it alone, Sentinel Vex hologram interjected, the living metal of his armor reflecting the quantum nursery's light in new patterns. Our oldest records speak of civilizations far more advanced than either of us, swallowed by the darkness between stars. Zara stepped forward, the Nexus core humming within her as new possibilities unfolded in her mind. Show me, she commanded the quantum nursery. The crystalline structure responded instantly, projecting a map of the galaxy. Red zones marked areas where the quantum decay had already consumed everything in its path. The barrier advances approximately 1 light-year per Earth decade, the precursor AI explained. At current velocities, it will reach this sector within 2 centuries. Commander Tanaka moved to stand beside Zara. Can it be stopped? Not by conventional means, Zara answered, watching as the quantum calculations played out before her. But maybe that's the point. We've been thinking about this the wrong way, trying to stop an unstoppable force. But what if we could transform it instead? She reached out, manipulating the quantum fields with growing confidence. The nursery responded, its crystals reconfiguring to demonstrate her theory. Look at what we've already achieved. The Vanguard's preservation technology combined with human innovation created something entirely new. What if we applied that same principle on a galactic scale? The precursor AI's form stabilized momentarily. Elaborate. Zara's hands danced through the holographic interface, combining equations that had never been connected before. The Vanguard's living metal technology, it adapts, evolves. The Nexus core doesn't just store knowledge, it generates new possibilities. Together they could create a quantum transformation matrix, Vex finished, understanding dawning in his voice. Not a barrier against the decay. But a way to reshape it, Zara confirmed. The quantum nursery hummed with increasing power as it simulated her theory. We can't stop entropy, but we can guide it, use it to fuel something new. The death of old systems becoming the birth of new ones. The holographic display shifted, showing the transformation matrix's potential effect. Where the quantum decay touched, instead of destruction, there would be renewal, new forms of matter and energy operating under physics that bridged the gap between what was and what could be. It would require unprecedented cooperation, the precursor AI noted. Thousands of systems working in perfect harmony. Then that's what we'll create, Zara declared. She turned to face both her human colleagues and the Vanguard representatives. The precursors didn't just leave us technology. They left us a choice. We can face the barrier separately and fall like all those who came before, or we can do something that's never been done, build bridges between preservation and progress, between caution and courage. The quantum nursery suddenly flared with brilliant light as the Nexus core and the Vanguard's living metal technology synchronized for the first time. In that moment, Zara saw more than just equations and energy patterns, she saw a future where humanity's drive to explore and the Vanguard's commitment to protect created something greater than either could achieve alone. The transformation matrix will take years to build, she continued, and decades to perfect. We'll need to bring in other species, other perspectives. It won't be easy, and there will be setbacks. But for the first time, we have a real chance. Sentinel Vex hologram stepped forward, its form seeming more alive than ever. For 50,000 years, we have waited for a sign that we had fulfilled our duty to the precursors. Perhaps this is it, not an end to our guardianship, but an evolution of it. The precursor AI's form began to fade. The choice has been made. The path is set. Our final protocol is complete. Its voice echoed one last time through quantum space, the future belongs to those who can both preserve and transform. Build well. As the AI vanished, the quantum nursery stabilized into its final form, a permanent bridge between human and Vanguard technology. Zara looked out at the fleet of ancient guardians, then back at her fellow humans. In her mind, the Nexus core showed her glimpses of what was to come, a galaxy transformed not by a single species or philosophy, but by the combination of many. Well, Commander Tanaka said into the silence, I guess we'd better get started. Zara smiled, feeling the quantum energies pulse around them with new purpose. A week ago, she had been a simple mechanic, fixing engines on a remote repair station. Now she stood at the threshold of something unprecedented, not just a technological revolution, but a fundamental change in how species across the galaxy would interact and evolve. Yes, she agreed, watching as the first streams of data began flowing between human and Vanguard systems. We've got a universe to save, and I have a feeling we're going to need everyone's help to do it. The stars seemed to shine brighter as humanity took its first steps into a future that no one could have predicted, a future where the greatest breakthrough wasn't a piece of technology, but the realization that true progress comes not from walking a single path, but from building bridges between many.